Welcome to Smart Remarks, where it's all about the Benjamins, or in my case, the Washingtons. Let's say you as an individual run out of money. You've been spending more than you make, you've got all these promises to pay this guy and that. You could slash spending, you could take on a second job, or maybe you could declare bankruptcy. Last year, 1.5 million Americans did declare bankruptcies. There's a lot of cities in bankruptcy, but states are not allowed to declare bankruptcy. That could change if congressional Republicans get their way. Worried that cash-strapped states like California, Illinois, even our own Pennsylvania could approach the federal government hat in hand, congressional Republicans want to allow states to declare bankruptcy so they can restructure or unload public debts like those owed to its citizens. Now, on one hand, this is driven by a legitimate concern for the fiscal welfare of the states. On the other hand, how great would it be for Republicans if right around the time Obama was running for re-election, a bunch of states declare themselves insolvent? But what's really driving this buzz is the Republican desire to crush public sector unions and to renege on long-term promises for public sector pensions and retiree health care. Now, let's make no mistake, these are big contributors to the state's fiscal health or lack thereof. But at the same time, it's instructive to note that no state has asked to be able to declare bankruptcy, and you can understand why, because bankruptcy might involve haircuts to bond investors, which would make it very difficult for states to borrow in the future. So most states are cutting costs, and wise states are talking about raising taxes. Wise because in this environment, to not raise taxes is irresponsible. States need to be able to use every tool at their disposal to solve the problem. But see, here's another reason why the Republicans like the idea of bankruptcy. It's an end run around those problems without having to raise taxes. Of course, unless a bankruptcy judge orders a state to raise taxes, in which case can you only imagine the outrage! Now, do I want to pay more in taxes? No, I don't want to pay more in taxes. But states have a responsibility to bondholders and a moral responsibility to citizens, and state bankruptcies would abrogate these responsibilities. It would create a whole new class of impoverished citizens, the civil servant who thought he had a retirement coming and all of a sudden doesn't, the retiree who all of a sudden is on the hook for all of his health care costs. We crush public sector unions, but then what are we going to pay our civil servants, our cops? Minimum wage? We say that the states, as well as the federal government, has been living beyond its means and cannot keep the promises that it's made. But I say where citizens are involved, those promises must be kept. And it's going to require sacrifice on all fronts to do so. Yeah, unions are going to have to make some concessions. Pensions may have to be reduced. Spending will need to be cut. Taxes will need to go up. It means that everybody is going to need to shoulder a share of the burden. And you as an individual running into money problems, you could declare bankruptcy, although it occurs to me that some of the Republicans advocating state bankruptcies would look down upon you for doing so. Or you could slash your spending, you could put everything towards paying off your bills, you could call up the utility company, get on a payment plan, you could slowly but surely chip away at your debt. It might require a hell of a lot of pain, but you could do it. And so can the states. Beware of those who insist that they shouldn't have to endure any pain and slough it all off onto somebody else.
Illinois is a good example. Recently they raised taxes by 66% on individuals.
Oh, they went from 3% to 5%, and everybody all
That's
wigged
correct.
out. I'd give my left arm to only pay 5% in state sales tax, but go ahead, state tax. But
Well,
go ahead.
It's a big increase, though, and corporate taxes.